we're going to go ahead and talk about uh, older movies. We're going to be talking about Batman 1989 and those 4 films. And we're going to compare those kind of just off top of my head. We're going to compare those to the Superman 1979 movie series. These movie series were actually interesting. They both start out fairly strong. I enjoyed both those movies a fair bit. The first entries in both those movies. And the 4th movies, they're 2-film series with 4 movies, 4 Batman movies and 4 Superman movies. And the last movie in each of these series is just a complete goddamn shit show. They're just some of the worst comic book movies ever, without a doubt. I won't call them the worst comic book movies ever, but they're up there. If you're gonna make a top 10, they'll probably both make it. Top 10 worst. So I already did like a full comparison of the original movies, Superman 79 and Batman 89. And I enjoyed both these movies. Like the formal comparison I did had to give the score to Batman 89 for the win, because I simply felt like the time travel at the end of Superman 79 was just such an easy cop-out. They had such this great setup for Superman. They did a great job with his character. The story flowed naturally. Lex Luthor could have been done better. However, Gene Hackman did a great job with the role. But at the same time, that time travel cop out, like doing that bold move of killing Lois, then just doing this lame time travel cop out, felt so cheap. I mean, literally, now we've set up so that if something bad happens to anyone, and Superman doesn't time travel back to fix it, he's just being selfish. So it's just a terrible setup that they did at the end of that one. It was so lazy. That being said, the setup for that movie, like that first act dragged a little bit, but was interesting, and then the second act was great. So, but Batman 89 never got as good as that Superman 79 movie. That being said, never got as bad either. Both these movies have great actors in the lead and villains. One of the great failings of Batman 89 is that it's clear, like, Tim Burton's all into the Joker. In Batman, he kind of explores some stuff, but not nearly as much as he could have. Like, he even sets up Batman as a fairly interesting character and doesn't really do anything with that. He's set up as, like, this psychologically damaged character. And Michael Keaton does that great. And then what does he do with it? Jack shit is what he does with it, exactly. So, and he sets up this weird revenge story between the Joker and Batman, which doesn't need to be there. In fact, I thought the way I really feel this is handled better with the Batman and the killer of his parents is to not give him revenge. Because revenge is a fun story in movies, but, like, there's a superficialness to revenge, too. But yeah, I'm not gonna get deep into philosophy right now. I haven't, like, researched that right now. Like I said, this is a free flowing thoughts. So like I said, in my full, like, formal video for Batman 89 versus Superman 79, I absolutely, at the end of the day, gave the win to Batman 89 because it's a more engaging movie. Although Superman definitely has higher points. Batman never goes as low as the Superman 79. The ending of Batman 89 is much better than the ending of Superman 79. And yeah, like the thing that always bugs me is he can fly fast enough to reverse time, but he's not fast enough to stop both missiles. I mean, oh my god. Oh my god. No. No. But anyways, now we're going into movies that it's been a little while since I've seen them, but not like Batman Returns, Superman 2. Not movies that I've seen super recently, but not movies that that's been a while. Batman Returns, last time I watched it, I was really, really unimpressed with it. The strength of that movie is entirely Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. She gives a great performance, and that take on the Catwoman is not something I've ever seen tried again, probably for the best. That being said, it's a really good take on the Catwoman. She's just kind of crazy, and it works. It works insanely well in that movie, and I doubt anyone could pull it off. Anne Hathaway, I thought, did a good Catwoman, and she doesn't even try for what Michelle Pfeiffer does, and that's almost certainly for the best. Uh, One of the huge weaknesses of that movie are the villains on the other end. I know lots of people love Danny DeVito's Penguin. I don't. I can't stand Danny DeVito's Penguin. Um, it's not the Penguin. It's disgusting. I can't stand that character. And in the comic books, and if you read the comic books, and I guess comic books go all over the place, but I like the animated series take on the character where he's more regal, he's more formal. What about him that isn't regal or formal is just his general appearance, just his biological appearance. Anything else about him is very regal and formal, and I like that contrast. And it's not something Tim Burton is interested in at all. He just is like, hey, he's going to be eating fish, living in a sewer. He's going to be disgusting. And hey, let's have this guy run for mayor. Which, I mean, is he trying to go into politics there? Kind of say a political thing saying, hey, these politicians are all in the sewer? Maybe. Does it land? Not at all. I mean, it just doesn't work. It's not believable that anybody would vote for him. It's not believable he would have any sort of campaign that was even somewhat successful. So, just the idea that he would run for mayor and, like, have any chance of winning is a joke. And it doesn't work at all. He just does not work as a villain. Batman, again, has nothing to do. He actually kills people quite ruthlessly in that movie. He kills less, but man, like that thing where he like plants a bomb on a guy and walks away with a fucking smile, that is some fucking dark shit right there. And I guess hashtag not my Batman. It's so frustrating because Michael Keaton does such a great job with the character, but the writers don't seem to understand the character, and they don't do anything interesting with him, so he's wasted in this role for these first two movies. Now we go to Superman 2. And Superman 2 I have very differing opinions with, depending on which version you're talking about. The Richard Lester version is a cool... I'm brain farting. It's a cool... The Richard Lester version is the same story in both versions. And you get some of the same highlights. But the Richard Lester one just drags so much. It's rough watching that one because it just gets boring. You end up with lots of weird powers. Essentially, I feel like after that first Superman with the time travel thing, they just like said, okay, he just does whatever. So they just gave these Kryptonians powers all over the place to do like anything. And it all accumulates in this like Superman amnesia kiss, which is like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And then we go to the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, which is much more entertaining. It's a much better movie, except it hits the same snag at the end. It's the exact same snag. You hit this stupid time travel. He does the time travel thing again. And it's like, okay, so now we've given him this power, and he's just going to use it whenever there's a situation. And that's the issue with that power. Because if you have that power, that is exactly what you do. Anytime something bad happens, let's time travel it back, reverse it. And that's why you don't give him that power. Because it's just... He's just going to do it every time. And if he doesn't do it every time, then you're questioning why isn't he doing it. And, So, the Richard Donner cut falls victim to the exact same thing that Richard Donner's original Superman does. And here's the deal. At the end of the day, the Richard Donner cut is far better than the Richard Lester version. How does it compare to Batman Returns, though? Batman Returns is, like I said, I'm largely disappointed with that, with the exception of Catwoman. I don't really like that movie. Christopher Walken's also wasted in that movie. Like, I usually like Christopher Walken, but I really just do not give a shit about Max Schreck at all. So, I guess if I'm comparing those two, off the top of my head, I lean towards the Donner cut of Superman 2, and if we're dealing with the Lester cut of Superman 2 versus Batman Returns, I guess I lean towards Batman Returns. So now we move on to a third movie in each franchise. Batman Forever and Superman 3, which these are the ones I've probably seen the least. It's been a few years on both of them. I've talked about both of them, though. Actually, have I done anything on Superman 3? I don't know. Office Space has done stuff on Superman 3. In fact, kind of the main character of that one is Richard Pryor, which is a huge, letdown, because he's not particularly funny in it. He's kind of a computer hacker, but I don't know, he doesn't seem that computer savvy, but he hacks the computer. He gets him dropping cents into his own personal account. And yeah, it's the Office Space scheme, except I enjoy it more in Office Space. But there is some cool stuff in Superman 3. Although there's a huge missed opportunity, too. I always wanted to talk about this. The beginning of Superman 3 is when they have the credits going. We have Clark going to work at the Daily Planet. And we have all these zany hijinks happening around him. And when I first started seeing these hijinks happening, I thought, oh, this could be fun. What they're clearly going to do is going to have these crazy, little catastrophes happening around Clark. And we're going to see Clark kind of covertly, fix them without going into Superman mode, but, he'll, secretly use his heat vision or secretly blow something up and, and just avert all these catastrophes, and people be like, oh, hey, everything's all right, cool. And, kind of Superman's going around saving the day without you even knowing he's around. And I thought that was a really cool idea, and I think that's what they're originally going for, but it's like they drop it, and instead we just have zany hijinks happening around Clark just randomly, and it doesn't work. And I guess it's supposed to be played for laughs, and it completely fails. It's just the most wasted opportunity of a film intro I've ever seen. That brings us to let's talk about the strength of Superman 3. Because without a doubt, the best scene in there is when we get to this evil Superman thing, which is all weird. But we get evil Superman, and he's drinking, and he's an asshole. And then, for some reason, it's not explained why all this stuff is happening, as I recall. But it happens, and it actually is cool. We get Clark and Superman kind of separate. And Clark's essentially the good guy, Superman's a bad guy, and they end up in this fight. And it works. It's like this cool, conflict between the characters. And it's a really cool idea, the conflict between Clark Kent and Superman, except made physical. And it's a cool scene. It needs to be in a much, much better movie that understands how exactly to play with this scene and the ideas in this scene, because it doesn't do that at all. I do recall most of the movie takes place with him in Smallville, Clark Kent's in Smallville, and we get a lot of him with Lana Lang. Apparently, I would assume Margot Kidder didn't want to play a big role in this movie, so she essentially just has a cameo at the beginning, and I think maybe at the end. It's all at the Daily Planet, so I'm certain she was just there for a day. But anyways, I know at the end there's this supercomputer. He fights this robotic people. Superman 3 is really nowhere. It's got a couple really good moments, but it's just nowhere. Batman Forever is, on the other hand, a movie. Obviously, part of the idea of this movie was to give us Jim Carrey, and this is in the height of Jim Carrey in his popularity. So instead of giving us like a more like accurate Riddler, we're getting Jim Carrey's Riddler, which honestly plays a bit more like the Joker. And it could have worked. It doesn't really, though. That being said, Jim Carrey's Riddler is way more accurate than Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, which is really awful. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is actually a really good really good character. Actually, Two-Face is a really good character, and Tommy Lee Jones is a really good actor, and this is kind of in his hype. Not long before this, he did Under Siege, where he played a psychopath, and before this, he also did The Fugitive, where he's like this cop where everything's organized, and you got A and B. And it's like, why on earth would you give us Two-Face? Why would you recast him as Tommy Lee Jones? Why whitewash him? Because the character was played by Billy D. Williams. And then give us an actor who can absolutely play both sides of Two-Face, and then just give us a zany villain. I mean, this isn't even a villain as good as the villain he played in Under Siege. This is just zany, stupid villain that he does. And it's a complete waste of Two-Face, and it's super frustrating, because Two-Face is a great comic book villain, and they waste him so severely in this movie. Ugh. Anyways, this movie, it also gives us Robin, and we get Val Kilmer's Batman, and the movie does actually explore his character quite a bit in deleted scenes. That's right, there is kind of this exploration of Batman, and even ideas that would be used later in the Nolan trilogy about Batman that were introduced in Batman Forever, and then cut. So, like, what we end up with is a bad movie. What we end up with is a movie that has all the potential in the world to be an awesome Batman movie, and it sucks. It's not the worst thing ever, but it sucks. Val Kilmer's performance was kind of nowhere, but again, his best stuff is on the cutting room floor. So, unfortunately, that's where that movie lands. Now, which is better, Batman Forever or Superman 3? I think, without a doubt, it has to go to Batman Forever. Because Superman 3 is largely just, I don't care, except for that Superman-Clark dynamic, which is very little bit of the movie. It's a really good part of the movie, but it's so little of the movie. I'd much rather watch Batman Forever than Superman 3. They both are massively missed opportunities with great ideas in them, though. And that brings us to the shit shows. What we have is Batman and Robin and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Whew. Superman 4 largely almost didn't exist. I don't remember. I know it was Canon, I think, bought them. And they had to make it for a very... They wanted to make a new Superman movie, and they wanted to do it for a very small budget. Christopher Reeve didn't want to come back, and only agreed to come back when he could direct. But then, even as he's directing, he helped put together the script, and the script just constantly got budget cut, and budget cut, and budget cut, and it results in lots of reused effects shots and scenes over and over again in that movie. It results in them giving Superman wall-building sight when the Great Wall of China is partially destroyed, and he flies away and fixes it with his eyesight. Anyways, the guts of the movie are Lex Luthor is back for some reason. I don't know if they're low on budget. Why are they working? Like, yeah, you should get Gene Hackman back because he's good. But at the same time, if you're low on budget, probably not your best move. I don't know. I don't know if anything could have saved this movie. Anyways, Gene Hackman gets a sample of Superman's hair from the museum, and we see... God, this is so bad. Anyways, he uses a sample of Superman's hair makes a radioactive man or solar man or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't remember, and I don't care to look it up. He's essentially a Dolph Lundgren knockoff, and they did save the budget by not getting Dolph Lundgren. Whatever. So this is, and of course he fights Superman. He has probably the biggest difference in his powers. It's very similar power set to Superman, except he also has radioactive nails, which he can use to scratch Superman, and it'll hurt Superman. Yeah, what a great fucking idea for a power that was. I'm sure that won't get memed to death. Oh my god, and like, you have these superpowers, and the effects are so bad. They replay the whole Superman and Lois flying around from the first movie. They literally try to recreate that scene. It fails. Like, honestly, I think there's issues with that scene in the original. I kind of like it, but there's issues. And rather than even address those issues, they're just like, hey, let's rehash this shit for no goddamn reason. And make it look a lot worse, too. Just, it's so bad. I know the kind of the guts of what gets everything going with the story is that Superman vows to get rid of all the nation's nuclear weapons. And you know what? It's a nice idea. But, obviously this movie's not the place for it. It's not going to flesh it out. It's not going to explore this idea. It's just going to be fucking garbage. So that brings us to Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is so boring. I mean, okay, so it's clear what part of the issue is that we've gone from Tim Burton's super dark take on the character and his even slightly darker take on the whole thing in Batman Returns. And now, 2 movies later, it's clear that Joel Schumacher is now going for a Batman 66, the Adam West version of Batman, trying to bring that into movie form. And he's even talked about how lots of times they're doing the idea is let's introduce a new car, let's introduce a new toy. And it's clear, like, this movie is not made by a filmmaker. And I'm not saying that Joel Schumacher isn't a filmmaker. He's a very flawed filmmaker, but he's very much a filmmaker. This movie is made by WB, it's made by committee, it's made to sell toys. And the whole tone of, hey, let's make Superman a lighter character. George Clooney is the new, let's make Batman a lighter character. George Clooney is, of course, the new Batman. And lots of people are like, he's the worst Batman. I am of the opinion that I can't tell you if he's the worst Batman because he doesn't play a role in this. He's just there. He delivers his lines fine. I don't have any issue with his performance specifically, but he has no meat in that movie. So, I mean, I don't know what you expect from him. It introduces Batgirl. I don't care. We have Mr. Freeze as Arnold Schwarzenegger. It brings in his origin from the animated series, which is actually a great origin. Part of the issue with Mr. Freeze was that he never had a particularly great origin. And what they do in the animated series is give him a great origin with his wife. His wife has some sort of weird disease. She is frozen to preserve her life. And he's trying to cure it. And then there's an accident. And he gets stuck in the contain. He gets affected by the whatever froze his wife, and he has to keep himself in a containment suit so he can try to save his wife. If memory serves, it's kind of like a corporate thing too, where there are corporate cuts, and that's part of why the containment broke. And so now he's out for revenge because that's what everybody's doing nowadays. Batman got his revenge. Why can't Mr. Freeze get his revenge? Let's have fun. But anyways, part of the issue is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is, I mean, he does a fine job in my opinion, but he is brutally miscast. It's a Topher Grace situation where if you look at the raw performance, they're trying, they're giving their best, but it's not there. You're not gonna bleed a turnip. And you're not going to get a great Eddie Brock from Topher Grace. And you're not going to get a great Mr. Freeze from Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not there. You know, it's obviously like a stunt casting situation. Now, who is well cast and who does do a good job in this movie is Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy is phenomenal, potentially. Now, the character is written like shit. But Uma Thurman really does the best job she can at that material, and it almost works. Unfortunately, because she's written poorly, it's a very, like, superficial character. But like I said, it almost works. It's almost there. In a better movie, this could work. But, yeah, at the end of the day, this movie sucks. Now, which is worse, Superman 4 or Batman and Robin? I lean towards Superman 4 being worse. So I would say Batman and Robin is better. Partially because Batman and Robin being bad is actually semi-intentional. It doesn't justify it. But like the movie kind of knows it's bad. Kinda. Like I said, we're dealing with shit shows here. I obviously will have to do full breakdowns of all these comparisons, which I plan to do eventually on the channel. Which means, you know, give me 10 years. I'll get them all out. But, yeah, these are just kind of my gut feelings on these movies. So that's where I'd say on those, like, God, did I go Batman down the line? With the exception of Superman 2 Donner Cut? Yeah, I think I went Batman down the line. I didn't even realize that.